If you lose weight and gain muscle, you're going to feel good in your clothes. If you lose weight and gain muscle, you're going to be able to get up and down the stairs easier. If you lose weight and gain muscle, you're going to be able to hike that mountain. If you lose weight and gain muscle, you're going to be able to play sports with your kids, with your grandkids now and coming into the future. But the difference is these other things, the secondary things that I mentioned, usually are going to keep you a lot more motivated. Welcome to Only the Greatest Podcast. If you're feeling stuck and unsure what to do next in your fitness journey, we might be what you're looking for. My name is Philip. I own and operate OTG Fitness, which is a private personal training gym on the south side of Houston in Webster. I do this podcast every week with my best friend, Daryl. We've been friends since third grade and working out together ever since. Also joining us today will be Shawn. He's the one that makes this podcast not only sound great, but look good as well. Our goal here is to help Houston make its way up the ladder of health and fitness. So if you're in the Houston area and ready to become the greatest version of yourself, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. All right, Shawn, you ready to run on Sunday?
I am I'm more ready than I was last time.
Yeah?
For sure. How you feeling today,
I'm
Phil?
feeling good, man. I'm feeling strong.
Yeah.
We didn't have to do any kind of intro because it's already rolled through. And yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm ready for this race. We're running the Bridge Series.
Race number 2.
Race number 2 of the Bridge Series, Galveston 10K. Mm-hmm. I'm coming for blood.
Okay.
You know, I'm here to win.
Yeah.
PR on the 10K.
Gotcha.
This coming weekend, so I'm ready.
So if for the people who don't know exactly what the Galveston Bridge Series, do you think we have a couple of minutes to like kind of explain what that is to the listeners?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do my best. This is our first year running it. You know, we're all new to running here, and it's not just the Galveston Bridge Series. It is a Houston-based event, I guess, Houston area, because you have one race in Kemah, which is over the Kemah Bridge Series. So each race is over a bridge. You have the Kemah Bridge, which is a 10K that we ran, 3 or 4 weeks ago now?
Yeah, something like that.
And then we have the Galveston 10K, which is over the causeway that is the bridge from, I guess, like Texas City, I guess, is where the bridge starts. Texas City, Hitchcock.
Yeah, Texas City, Hitchcock area.
To Galveston, right? So that's the cause. And that one's a 10K as well. And then the last race is a half marathon next month, which is a, half marathon, which is 13 miles over the Fred Hartman Bridge out in, it starts in LaPorte. So you go over the bridge, and I guess you go over the bridge and come back. That's how Kemah was. This is my first time. Yeah. I don't really know, but I know this is very popular. It's a lot of people do this getting ready for the Houston full marathon in January.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's the main reason I'm doing it. Are you running the half marathon, and what are you thinking?
I'm going to be running the half marathon here. That was like my goal of the year. I mean, like you said, we're all new to running. That was my whole thing. Once I did the 5K, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a 10K, and then pushing forward. I was like, I think that a goal that I really want to hit is at least run one half marathon by the end of the year.
Do you have a time goal, or is it just to kind of finish?
I think it's just kind of a finish right now. Time goal, it's so up in there because sometimes I like trying to go about it a little bit differently this time opposed to the first time, the first race. This time I really tried to work on like heart rate control and trying to really focus on how I'm feeling more so during the race rather than really trying to like kind of blow a gasket to finish it. And so the times haven't been exactly where I want them to be, but talking with Eli and other, avid runners, it's just a lot of patience is involved. And it's hard to see that, I'm hitting like, 14 minute miles. And I'm like, oh my God, I just want to go faster. But I know if I go too fast, then it's not going to be great for the long run. So
yeah, your longevity is going to get cut into.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, each time you learn a little bit of something. This past race is my first 10K, so now currently I guess I've ran 2 half marathons and 1 10K, and now getting ready for a 10K this weekend. Then we got the other half marathon in next month for the Fred Hartman Bridge. And then we had the full marathon coming in January. Yeah. So that's what all this is getting ready for. So yeah, man. I mean, each race, you just learn a little bit of something. And it's all about bettering yourself, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How often have we had that conversation?
Yeah, exactly.
Comparison. The only person you should the only thing you should compare to is your potential. So if you know you have the potential to run a strong half marathon, you moving towards that is all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I'm thinking of it as like a little birthday present to myself because I think it's November 19th, I think, or something like that.
I don't know.
And my birthday is on the 12th.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm like, man, that'll be a nice cap off to the year for me, for at least for that part of it. So, yeah, that'd be really neat.
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
All right, well, Bridge Series coming soon, full marathon coming in January. We'll keep you guys updated.
Yes,
but for now, today, what we're talking about, Shawn just got started in running.
Mm-hmm.
I just got started in running a little over a year ago now. But and today's topic is just getting started in general. Where to start, how to start, what do you do? Maybe you're listening to this and you're thinking about starting fitness. Maybe you just started a month or two ago. You're not real sure what's going on. You're feeling a little lost. Well, we're here to try to get you on the right track. And I can tell you that actually Shawn said this before we even started, when we were in like pre-show prep, I guess you would call it. He was talking about how just because something's simple doesn't mean that it's easy.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's very much what's going on here, because I'm going to lay out 3 things that you have to do when you're starting your fitness journey. And these 3 things are the only 3 things that matter. Number 1, step 1, define your goal. Step 2, create a plan that's associated to that goal. Step 3, execute the plan. Sounds very simple, right?
Yeah, sounds so simple. And you know, like I said earlier, I think that some people associate simple with easy all the time, and that's not always the case.
It's not the case at all. Because even though that sounds very simple, it's not necessarily easy. And we're going to go through each one of these things: the definition of a goal, the creation of a plan, and the execution of a plan. Talk about each one. Shawn and I will share a little bit about our own personal story about when we started, what we did good, what we did not so good in relation to each one of these topics. So let's start with defining your goal. And the first thing that I have here is, obviously most people, when they start fitness, most of the time losing weight is part of that goal. Right? It could be gaining weight. Was that one of your goals when you first started?
Mine was definitely losing.
Same.
I wanted to gain muscle, of course, but losing was high on the priority list.
Yeah, for sure. And I have also on here the difference between making your goal losing weight or gaining muscle. Think about that versus compared to feeling good in your clothes or being able to get up and down the stairs easier, hiking a mountain, playing with my kids or my grandkids, whether that's now or in the future. That sounds a lot different than lose weight, gain muscle. But if you think about it, there's actually the same thing. If you lose weight and gain muscle, you're going to feel good in your clothes. If you lose weight and gain muscle, you're going to be able to get up and down the stairs easier. If you lose weight and gain muscle, you're going to be able to hike that mountain. If you lose weight and gain muscle, you're going to be able to play sports with your kids, with your grandkids now and coming into the future. But the difference is these other things, the secondary things that I mentioned, usually going to keep you a lot more motivated.
Very true.
Because there's nothing super motivating about just weight loss. It's the outcome of the weight loss.
Yeah.
So a lot of times in the financial world, like I'm really in fitness and finance, right? Money is not the goal in finance. It's what money can do for you. It's the same thing in fitness. Losing weight is not the goal. It's what can you do because you do lose weight. The health that you get, the ability that you get. That's the difference. And guys, when you're thinking about defining your goal, that's what I want you thinking about. Not necessarily the weight loss or the gaining of muscle or the bench pressing more. It's what can I do because I can bench press more? I feel better every day. I'm more productive at work. These are the things that matter and that are going to make a difference. They're going to keep you motivated over the long run. Just because you hit a plateau on the scale and you stop losing weight, well, you can still look forward to moving better, to throwing the football like you did when you were in high school. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, and so there's a big emotional difference between those things. And unfortunately, I think when a lot of people start, all they're thinking about is losing weight or gaining muscle.
The numbers on the scale. That's something I definitely worried more about in the earlier stages. Mm-hmm. I was at a certain weight and I wanted to do anything in my power to get that weight down, no matter how I felt, no matter if I didn't eat enough, to where I kind of felt crappy for not eating enough. or I overlifted and I lifted too much. And even though I'm in, at that point, I'm probably like 20, 22 years old. And it's just like, oh man, yeah, you're young, whatever. It's like, I mean, everyone has a certain breaking point, And so, but all that I needed the weight to go down. I was a daily weight watcher, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's definitely nothing wrong with that,
Not
but
at all.
it's just your mindset behind it, and for sure, when you first get started and you want to lose weight and you don't, it can give up real easy when you don't lose the weight like you intended. And I think you made a really great point where if your only goal is to lose weight, you may end up under eating and not eating enough to even get good workouts.
Yeah.
And that's something that people really need to be cautious of. There's definitely a balance point between eating enough calories to fuel a good workout, or I'm saying that kind of backwards. There's a balance point between eating few enough calories to be in a deficit and lose weight versus eating too few calories and being in too big of a deficit. And now I don't even get very good effective workouts. I don't feel good all day. I'm lethargic. I'm tired. I can't think straight. I'm not performing good at work because you're not eating enough. And I think that kind of leads right into our next point of the creation of a plan, where if you have a plan in place from exercise and nutrition perspective that is associated to the goal that you made in step one, it's going to make sure that you stay on track in both sides of this equation.
Yeah.
Nutrition and exercise. And there's more to this as well, but those are the main things that we're going to focus on is exercise and nutrition and kind of being intentional about those things. And this is where another quote that I use a lot with clients, and I have to admit that I kind of stole this one. Alex Hormozy, I heard him say that. And I've been following Hormozy for a long time, actually, because he's in the gym space. So a lot of people just know him recently, but I've actually been following his stuff for a while because he started in the fitness industry, you know. And something he says is simple scales, fancy fails. And he's talking about from a business perspective. But I think that also applies to your nutrition and fitness.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? You want to be simple. There's no point in getting way out of control with this crazy diet, that crazy diet. You don't even need to know exactly what your macros are probably when you're first getting started. Yeah. Whenever you first started, did you track or did you just guess or what were you doing?
Not at all, man. We were just drinking water and eating like Lunchables and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the most, but yeah, it was, I never tracked until within this past year, really. I just, it was never needed. It was something that could overcomplicate it. And I think that some people, when they're starting, they try to take it all on at once, and then they just kind of get overwhelmed, and then it's like, oh man, I'm done. I'm done with all that, and it's just like, just kind of like you said, simplify it. I mean, yeah, my thing was make sure you eat something, make sure you're drinking water, make sure you get to the gym. That was it.
Yeah,
and then that's all we did. Yeah,
and a lot of times you need to have something simple in place that is executable, so you can keep progressing on that thing. Because unfortunately, what a lot of people do is they pick a diet, right? We'll use the word diet here. They do it for 2 weeks, and then they change it. And then they change it again, and they change it again, and change it again. The most important thing that you can do here is keep it simple. Once again, pick a habit, a small habit. Maybe it's, all right, right now I eat very sporadically, and I never have a plan of action. Well, let's just create this plan. I'm going to eat 3 times a day, and I'm going to have protein at each one. At OTG, when we're talking to clients, that's often my number one piece of advice. When people are getting started, they're telling me all these things they read online. They went here, they went there. They read this article, that article about fasting, this article about low carb, this thing about paleo, this thing about carnivore, and they're just so confused that they don't know what to do. They thought about they did vegan for 3 weeks, but it was hard because they wanted a burger. All of these different things happen. All right, whoa. Let's take a step back. Let's first, before we get into any of this craziness, let's eat 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and let's have some protein at each one. How's that sound? Like, well, that doesn't sound like it's going to get me very good results. Yeah, it will. I promise. You might hit a plateau soon, but you need to focus on one small habit at a time. Habit stacking. Brendan Burchard, I think is.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I think that's the guy that talks. He's like a motivational speaker.
Okay.
He calls it habit stacking.
Okay.
And so basically you do one thing, which leads to another, which leads to another. So the first thing that we want to do is just eat 3 times a day, make sure there's protein in each one. And I think that's a great goal for a lot of people getting started. So if you're listening to this and you're not real sure what to do with your nutrition, just start with that. I know it doesn't sound like much, but I promise you, once that becomes easy, now you're going to be able to take another step forward, right? And it's just one thing after another, after another, after another. And from an exercise perspective, the most successful clients that we have at OTG work out at least 3 times a week. That seems to be a nice balance of enough, but also not too much. 4 is what we actually consider the ideal, because it's almost like every other day. Mm-hmm. Every single day, one of these three things should be true. Either I worked out yesterday, I'm working out today, or I'm working out tomorrow. If you work out every other day, one of those 3 things is always true.
I like that saying. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it works really well. And what that's going to do, what you'll notice is once you get into that groove and that routine, your eating habits are going to automatically get better.
Yeah. Yeah, very true.
Because you want to perform better during the workouts, right? So to kind of wrap back around to this creation of a plan, first we defined our goal, right? And now we're in the middle of creating our plan. All right, I'm going to assess my schedule. I can work out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I have about 45 minutes after work. I need to make it quick. I got to pick the kids up at this time. On Wednesday, I might actually need to make it in the morning. You know what? Let me go ahead and scratch evening out on Wednesday. I'm going to move that to the morning. So I know I need to make it happen. Tuesday night, I need to get my clothes together. I need to get my food together. I need to have my gym shorts, right by the bed, right? So Monday evening, Wednesday morning, Friday evening. Not a whole lot going on Friday after work. I think I can make that happen. Boom. There's my plan. So I defined a goal, right? Whatever, one of these things that we were talking about, right? And whatever your goal is, if you're listening to this, write it down. Write that goal down. Now I'm going to create my plan. Monday evening, Wednesday morning, Friday evening.
Yeah, Friday evening.
Yep. So there's my 3 days. Because like I said, the most successful clients that we have,
3 days
at least 3 days a week. 4 is what we consider ideal. 3 is really good as well. And these are structured exercises, meaning that I'm going at this time and I'm doing this thing, whether it's on the weights, whether it's cardio, whether it's on the bike. Structured exercise means it's planned. I'm going to do it at this time, and it can be plus or minus a little bit of time. On the nutrition side, I often recommend plus or minus some time. So for example, if my goal is eating 3 times a day, well, at some time between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., meal 1.
Yeah.
Sometime between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., meal 2.
Yeah. Okay, so it's like a little bit of a slider a little bit. It's like it doesn't have to be exactly at 1 o'clock. You're kind of stressing out then. It's like, oh man, I gotta get that 1 o'clock meal in, and if you have a slightly busy lifestyle, you're probably doing something.
Yeah, because the stress of worrying about that is probably just as bad for you as messing up just a little bit. Excuse me, because for sure, if you mess up a little bit, it's okay. You have a plan. Yeah. Get back on the plan, right?
Very
so true. That sliding scale, like you said, that kind of 2-hour window to be able to eat your meals in I've found really effective with clients that we have, because everyone's schedule is crazy. If you're listening to this, I already know that you have a crazy schedule.
Yeah, we
all do. It's the world that we live in these days, and you're not alone, right? It's okay. And don't take this wrong way, but you're not special.
Yeah.
We all deal with this, but that window thing seems to really help. Because if I tell you 10, well, if I'm at a meeting at 10, well, 10:45, I'm still within my little window.
Yeah, exactly.
That seems to be really effective. And then also the evening window is maybe between 7 and 9. You're not going to die because you eat dinner at 9 p.m. I promise you're fine. And that's really helpful as well, because maybe the kids have a baseball game, you're getting home late, and now you decide to starve yourself and just go to bed instead of eating because it's past whatever exact time that you made. So that little window of time seems to be really effective.
Yeah, definitely.
When you first started, did you have a plan?
Like I said, man, the plan was, It was go to the gym. One of my things that helped me a lot, you were saying, like, if you plan on going to the gym the next day, was the gym shoe method is what I always called it. Like, if I ever felt like I didn't really want to go, like, the plan was very up in the air. I'd get out of school, and I'm just like, sometimes I felt like going right away, and sometimes I went a little bit later, but what always worked for me is the gym shoe method. I threw my gym shoes on. I was like, the shoes are on. I got to go. I got to go to the gym. So when I would actually go to the gym, me and my friends, we would walk/run to the local gym. It was called Lowry Center. I know y'all have heard us talk about it before. Greatest gym on earth. No, I'm joking. But it was, we would walk/run to Lowry Center and work out full body. And I think we went probably just as many times as we could, really. Like, yeah, it was no real push-pull leg structure, like 3 days on, a couple of days off. It was nothing like that. We would just go, hit full body, and then walk home.
But you started.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first started, I remember, guys, if you don't know this, when I lost almost 100 pounds, it's been about 12 years ago now. And when I first started, I lost weight without any exercise. It was completely nutrition. I was tired of kids calling me fat. I was very depressed. And I just wanted to lose weight. And so I decided to start eating less. And that was my plan. Just eat less. And so I remember specific things such as, instead of making a sandwich and taking the bag of potato chips to the couch to watch TV, I would cut the sandwich in half, wrap it in a paper towel, put it in the fridge, and take a handful of chips, put it on the plate, and go and then eat the other half later.
There you go. That's
little
the start.
Yeah, and I lost 85 pounds actually doing that.
That's crazy.
And that took me about 8 months, and then I went from the fat kid. Everybody was telling me like Fat Phil or and stuff like that. Next thing you know, they're like, "Man, you're looking a little skinny, dude. Like, kind of looks unhealthy." Well, which is it?
Yeah.
But anyways, then I got motivated to start working out, and I remember around this time, texting was becoming popular. So I'm going to guess that I texted a friend of mine that actually worked at Lowry Center. I won't say any names.
Mm-hmm.
But he sent me a plan. He said, Monday, chest and back. Wednesday, shoulders and legs. Friday, biceps, triceps.
Yeah, doesn't sound like a bad plan.
And I lived across the street from Lowry Center. So I would walk to Lowry Center or jog, do that Monday, Wednesday. I probably did that. I don't know exactly, but at least for a year. And minimal results, but I was doing it, right? I had a plan, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
And I did it.
And you executed.
And I executed, which we're about to get into here in a second. Mm-hmm. And that's how I got started.
There you go.
And it's not the greatest thing in the world. It's not the most perfect plan, but it's what I did. And here we are. That's been about 12 years ago. And I've learned a lot in time, for sure. What
does your plan look like these days?
Currently, from a nutrition perspective, I am currently using a meal prep service. So I eat 3 meals a day, 4 on run days, because we're now running for a marathon. So I usually eat 3 meals a day, 3 kind of big meals. I don't eat super early. I wake up early, but I don't eat my first meal until sometime between 10 a.m. and 12. Okay. Sometime between 10 a.m. and noon, I eat my first meal. And that's usually post-workout. But if I don't get to work out in the morning, it might happen a little later. But usually I try to work out in the morning, lifting-wise. And then my first meal comes after that, sometime between 10 a.m. and noon. And then I'll usually eat, and that'll usually be a meal prep from like a meal prep service. Mm-hmm. And then sometime between 3 and 5 p.m., I'll eat my second meal. And then I usually run. If it's a run day, I'll often eat again before the run.
Okay.
Yes, if it's not a run day, I usually won't eat until dinner. But if it is a run day, because 4 days a week right now, I lift and run. So that's pretty tough. See, I lift on Tuesday through Saturday.
Okay.
It was Tuesday through Sunday, but I just cut out the Sunday because as we're in marathon preparation, my Sunday runs are now, like last Sunday was 11 miles, right? So that's kind of I'm getting up there in mileage on Sunday, so I'm not lifting on that day.
Gotcha.
But Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, I run and lift. So I get an extra meal in. It's usually carbohydrate based, and my personal favorite is rice cakes with honey, almond butter, and a banana.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's my extra pre-run meal. I do that 4 days a week.
Okay. I was just about to ask, like, what are you eating before the run? Because sometimes if I eat too much, I've found out like eating after the run is my go-to. If I eat a little bit too much before the run, it could be when I'm eating, I'll feel a little gassy, I'll feel a little bloated, and it's just not very comfortable. So
yeah, it also, I've seen that having a consistent routine, you know, when you first start it, if you haven't gotten the routine figured out yet, and so let's say sometimes, do you run in the morning or the evening? Evening. So let's say sometimes you're eating lunch and sometimes you're not. Mm-hmm. And that will change the way that pre-workout meal hits you during the run.
Very true.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you eat lunch and eat the pre-run meal, you might feel great. But if you miss lunch, or your lunch is like Wingstop or something, and then you have your pre-run meal, now you're going to feel like trash during your run. And so it's just, once you get that consistency under control, then you'll figure out if that pre-run meal is good for you or not.
Gotcha.
But until the steps are there in place and you're executing the plan on a regular basis, it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
You know, you're almost kind of winging it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and then for dinner, after the run, or whether I run or if I don't, Denver is usually off on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and she's been really into cooking something for us on Tuesday and Wednesday night.
Nice.
So whatever she makes, I'll eat without too much thought, to be completely honest. Just at that point in my fitness journey where I don't stress out, you know, about any meal. But most of the time she's at work though, and I do eat. From CVH Farms, I recently bought a quarter of a cow, so I have a lot of meat, and I make a nice fresh steak, and usually some potatoes is kind of my dinner.
So good.
That's my dinner probably 80% of the time.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, and that's kind of my plan of action now. It works really well for me. I know a lot of people like to eat 5 meals a day, 6 meals a day, and stuff like that. It just doesn't work for my schedule. You know, I consider myself a personal trainer and gym owner, I guess, before I'm an athlete, you know, and you know, a lot of people in our space would argue with that. And, you know, it's like, sometimes I miss my workouts. Sometimes I miss meals.
How dare you?
And I'm fine.
I'm pissed.
You know what I mean? I'm fine. Now, if you're listening to this and you're just getting started, for sure, I would encourage you to try to really do your best to not let that happen. But if it does, also understand that it's okay. You know, if the plan, you know, isn't always perfect, that's okay. And I think that's a good way for us to kind of segue into our next point here, which is the execution of the plan, right? You want to execute the plan 90+% of the time. And I would say I'm probably right around there, that 90%. I think that's a really good place to be. And when it comes to the execution of a plan, I think something that's very important to wrap back into our first step, which was defining your goal. You need to make sure that the goals are defined properly. Because if the goals are defined properly, it's okay if you don't have 100% execution rate. Because your goals are correct. They're in alignment with what you actually want. Even if you mess up a little bit, you can hop right back on. And so having those goals defined properly back in step 1 is very important now that we're here in step 3 of the execution of the plan, right? Something else that can be really helpful, an accountability partner. Somebody in your corner, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your brother, sister, a friend, you know, helping
or
you.
a trainer.
Yeah, a trainer, exactly. Yeah. This is a really good place to consider hiring a coach. Maybe it's a personal trainer. Maybe it's some type of group fitness. Obviously at OTG, we do personal training. We help people on an individual level. So everyone is a little bit different. You know, every single person that we're talking to has a little bit different goal. They have a different plan, and they execute the plan in a different way. So if you've defined your goals, you've created a plan, and you're having a hard time executing, great time to consider hiring a coach. If you can't define your goal at all, you're having a hard time really pinpointing why you're doing this, and you can't figure it out, get somebody to help you. It's okay. I always tell everyone, we don't want you to need a personal trainer forever. But I just hope that you like the experience with us at OTG, that you stay anyways.
There you go.
Right? That for sure is our goal. But
yeah.
No one should need someone to tell them what to do all the time. But when you're getting started with something new, it's not a bad idea to consider getting some help. You know, I really wish that I would have when I started. I say this all the time. I don't say it, I guess, as much now as I did when I first started doing training. But I really wish when I was younger, when I first started, that I would have gotten someone to help me out, even for a short period of time, because that would have allowed me to get on track a lot sooner. I feel like wasted is not the right word, because I'm here where I am now. I learned a lot, and I wouldn't be the person I am today if I didn't struggle with progressing forward for the first couple of years of my fitness journey. We all know that the most important thing is that you show up.
Yeah.
Right.
Very true.
But if you're having a hard time executing, you're having a hard time showing up, not a bad time to hire a coach. You know, even me, myself now, like with the marathon thing, I didn't know what I was doing. So what did I do?
Hired a coach.
Hired a coach. Shawn, powerhouse. Guy helps me out, holds me accountable. And so, you know, anytime that I don't feel like doing it, and I'll admit that I'm not 100%. I do miss runs. But I know that Shawn's looking at it, and I feel bad.
Yeah.
And I should.
Yeah.
I let him down.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I'm going to come back because my goal is to do this thing and to follow through. So I'm going to get back on track when I'm supposed to. But at the same time, I didn't know what I was doing when it came to running. So I hired someone to help put a plan together. And it's probably been one of the best decisions I've made in my own personal fitness.
Nice. I think after the run, I might I might get some type of personal training coach just to help dial in like my fitness. Right now, I'm kind of going off of like a run plan that I got I got off of ChatGPT, just giving it a try. I was like, oh man, I'll try it out, and so I'm going. It's different than what I would really like, but it's okay. It's been pretty good so far. I was doing like legs push pull, which I really, really like that split. 3 days rest and 3 more days. So that was nice. But now I'm doing just like a 2-day strength split. And so it's like upper body strength and then a run, and then lower body strength and then a run, and then it's like the rest day is an active rest day, or it's like a short run. So that's what I've been doing right now. But I think after the half marathon, I want to probably take a little bit of a break from running, and then focus more on just like strength and I guess aesthetics.
Nice.
And so
yeah, and goals change too. I'm glad you brought that up. You know, going back to step 1, which was defining your goal, that can change, you know, but don't have one goal and then keep constantly changing plans. That's not going to work. Mm-hmm. But if you want to change your goal, then the plan is going to change as well.
Yeah.
Right. So goals change, especially over time. For now, like right now, for sure. If you had asked me 2 years ago, hey man, you ever see yourself running? I'd be like,
yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
No, never. But look at me now.
Yeah.
Trying to run a marathon.
Yeah, same here. I was not about running at all.
Yeah.
Like running long distance just sounded super unappealing to me. But yeah, now it's like, man, now I'm about to run a half marathon, and it's like I would have never thought.
Yeah.
Never thought.
Goal change, especially once you actually reach your initial goal. If your initial goal is to do one thing and you reach that goal and you feel like you've achieved it, you're probably at that point you're going to be pretty motivated. And you want a different goal to have that feeling of striving for a goal again. Mm-hmm. You know, I think maybe that's kind of what happened to me. I was getting a little stale with my regular fitness routine. So, you know, Daryl mentioned that he went on a run, and I was like, all right, well, here we go.
Try something different.
Nice. And now my goals changed a little bit. And so, yeah, I have a new plan, and I hired a coach to help me execute the plan. So, guys, remember, if you're first getting started, don't get overwhelmed. It is very simple, not easy. But simple. Yep. So define a goal, write it down. Create a plan, write it down. Execute the plan. Finish. If you're having trouble, don't be afraid to talk to a friend, talk to someone that's good at this stuff, maybe hire a coach even. Obviously at OTG Fitness, we do personal training. We help people on an individual basis. So if you're struggling, you don't know what to do, we're here to help. Reach out. We're in Webster. Also, don't forget, our goal with this podcast is to help Houston make its way up the ladder of health and fitness. So if you have a friend or a family member, someone that is struggling to get started on their fitness journey, share the show with them. Let them listen in on what we have to say. If they want to get help from someone, then obviously we're here to help them. If they just want to take the information from this podcast and try to do it on their own, that's awesome too.
Yeah.
As long as people are moving forward, we're happy. And so share this podcast with someone that needs to hear it, and hopefully they can start making a change in their life.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else?
Very well said. I actually had a question for you. Do you like sweet potatoes?
I love sweet potatoes.
Do you only eat steak and sweet potatoes, or do you do steak? What kind of potato do you do with it?
Man, I was worried when you first asked that question. I was like, is this a Justin joke? Is this an
not,
Uncle Justin
no,
joke?
No, this was not this is not an Uncle Justin joke. I was really just thinking about it because I know that certain potatoes provide certain benefits. More carbs, less carbs, or more whatever. And
they're all similar. They're all if Uncle Justin jokes. Sorry, that's an inside joke. But now all potatoes are similar in carbohydrates.
Okay.
Sweet potatoes have more of a complex carbs. But white potatoes are great as well. They both have fiber. White potatoes, I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure have the highest potassium per gram ratio of any food, way more than bananas. Everyone thinks bananas for potassium, but white potatoes are also very satious, meaning they help get you full. So white potatoes, sweet potatoes, purple potatoes, red, they're all amazing. Personally, with sweet potatoes, I like a little salt and cinnamon and even honey on them.
Sounds great.
Yeah, and then white potatoes, just throw them, slice them up, put them in the air fryer. A lot of times I get the little small ones.
Okay, yeah.
Then just pop them in the microwave.
Yeah.
Real easy. Yeah, good old steak and potatoes,
Yeah.
Can't hurt. So yeah, all potatoes are great. If you eat a lot of rice, maybe consider replacing some rice with potatoes. Because you're getting more micronutrients and more fiber.
Okay.
So that's a nice little tip that I'll give to a lot of people that, they want the carbs. They think potatoes are bad for them. Potatoes are not bad for you. People think they're bad for you because the way that most people eat them is deep fried, with a burger on the side.
Deep fried or probably baked with a bunch of stuff thrown on them too.
Yeah, exactly. So keep it simple. Just I like to put a little cooking spray and sprinkle some salts on there. Mm-hmm. Delicious.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess we can wrap it all up.
All right, guys, we're out of here. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Remember, guys, we're trying to help Houston get healthier, focus on fitness. Share this with your friend. If you know anyone that has a great story, we're always looking for people to come on the podcast. If someone has been successful with their fitness, we'd love to talk to them. If you know a professional that would like to come on our show, we'd love to talk to them as well.
For sure. All right, guys. Peace out.